Alright, Internet. Well, I wanted to do something about the California sagebrush, but it occurred to me that it's in a rather diverse genus. Artemisia californica. The Artemisia genus encompasses things like mugwort, sagebrush, wormwood, and a few other more obscure things, including tarragon. Yeah, tarragon actually grows reminiscent of mugwort a bit, I want to say. It's definitely distinct from mugwort, in addition to its use as a flavoring. It's also used in herbalism. Anyway, I wanted to start by going over the Artemisia genus and then do a series on other Artemisia plants. And I'm going to start with California sagebrush and its cousin from across the pond, Artemisia Powys-Castle, which is a hybrid between two European mainland wormwoods, great wormwood, or Artemisia absinthium, and I believe it's called tree wormwood or something, called Artemisia arborescens. And, well, it's the dead of summer, and the dead of summer is rather appropriate. It is very hot. We've had more marine influence than we were expecting, but it's still pretty heavy, especially for something that did not evolve to cope with inland heat like this. I mean, California's kind of like that. Even, let me just pan up a bit, and you can see that the California sagebrush isn't looking that great either. I was showing you the really, really good new growth, but in summer, the old growth tends to get a little ratty, and then usually it has to be cut back. Or, well, it doesn't have to be cut back, but in spring, it looks better if you cut it back right before new growth starts, and then the new growth will replace the old growth, and it'll all have that nice mint green color to it. Now, if you look in really, really close detail, the leaves between this wormwood and that sagebrush are more similar than they may appear. And, well, you might say, of course they do. Not just because of the genus, but also because they both have a very feathery appearance. But with the California sagebrush, the division is so fine that a lot of people think that a California sagebrush leaf is a leaf cluster of needle-like leaves, which is not really the case. They are finely divided leaves that can have 3 to 5 leaflets coming off of the main stem, which is internal. You don't really get to find veins on California sagebrush unless you look really, really closely. The Artemisia genus is native to 4 or 5 of the primary continents on the planet. They spread across a bunch of them. I grew up with the inclination that Artemisia vulgaris was an invasive species in my area. But it's not, if only because probably it's not drought tolerant enough. Whereas our native mugwort, Artemisia douglassiana, is accustomed to this sort of cycle and is able to be more resilient in the California weather cycle or the multi-year drought cycle that tends to happen. And so vulgaris never seems to have gotten hold. Everywhere I've been, I've never seen it in the wild. I am definitely getting off topic again. I suppose not really, but you guys want to hear about California sagebrush, don't you? Well, California sagebrush is native to most of Southern California, and along the coast, it may or may not be replaced in the San Luis Obispo area or further north past the San Francisco Bay Area by Artemisia pycnocephala, or it has a bunch of common names. My favorite is sandhill sagebrush. There's some academic debate on whether it's a true sagebrush, but in my opinion it is. It's just a subshrub. It only grows about maybe a foot off the ground if you let it. Maybe 2 feet when it's blooming. Has a similar appearance, but the foliage is much denser than the California sagebrush, and it is also less fragrant. So, I am going to do an in-depth review of California sagebrush. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. Hopefully next week. I would really like to go out and do some filming of, hold on a second, of California sagebrush, if I'm up for it. So today I'm going to go over some different forms of Artemisias. Here we have California sagebrush, one of, I'm going to use that to represent the sagebrushes of the North America, United States of America, I guess. Although their range does go south and north, depending on where you're looking and at what species. There is Artemisia trilobia? No. Tridentata, and its cousin, which also grows in the Great Basin. Oh, I just cannot remember. Anyway, it's essentially the same name, just modified. They're very closely related. I've never gotten to see it. Tridentata is one of my favorites of herbs in general. It is medicinally very similar to greater wormwood. California sagebrush is fairly distinct, just in general, because of its very fine leaf division, which is not commonly seen in the sunflower family, which Artemisia is a part of. And then I was showing this before, but here is a wormwood suffering from the California heat. And structurally they're very similar. I find that there is a continental style to a lot of plants. The European style has a different stem formation, and the way it branches, very different from California sagebrush. Here we have Powys Castle, and I'm gonna do another cut so I can show you